Alexander III of Macedon, better known as Alexander the Great, was one of history's most remarkable military leaders and visionaries. Born in 356 BCE in Pella, the ancient capital of Macedonia, he became king at the age of 20 after the assassination of his father, King Philip II. Over the next 12 years, Alexander would carve out one of the largest empires in history, stretching from Greece to Egypt and deep into the heart of Asia. His conquests not only reshaped the ancient world politically, but also laid the foundation for the Hellenistic era, characterized by the blending of Greek and Eastern cultures. Early life and influences. Alexander was educated by the philosopher Aristotle, who instilled in him a love of Greek culture, literature, and philosophy. This education profoundly influenced Alexander's vision of a unified world where Greek culture would play a central role. From his father, Alexander inherited a strong and disciplined army, a well-organized administration, and a vision of Macedonian dominance in the Greek world. Philip's success in uniting the Greek city-states under the Corinthian League provided Alexander with the necessary base to embark on his ambitious campaigns. The conquest of the Persian Empire. Alexander's military campaign began in 334 BCE when he crossed the Hellespont, modern-day Dardanelles, into Asia Minor with an army of about 50,000 men. His goal was to conquer the Persian Empire, the dominant power of the time. At the Battle of Granicus, Alexander achieved his first major victory, opening the path for the conquest of Asia Minor. In 333 BCE, at the Battle of Issus, Alexander faced and defeated Darius III, the Persian king, despite being heavily outnumbered. This victory was pivotal, as it allowed Alexander to capture the Persian treasury and gain control of key territories, including Syria and Phoenicia. Alexander then turned southward, laying siege to Tyre and Gaza before entering Egypt in 332 BCE. Welcomed as a liberator, he was declared pharaoh and founded the city of Alexandria, which would become a major center of Hellenistic culture and learning. In 331 BCE, Alexander decisively defeated Darius III at the Battle of Gaugamela, a victory that effectively marked the collapse of the Persian Empire. He subsequently captured the Persian capitals of Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis, amassing immense wealth and consolidating his power. Expansion into Central Asia. Alexander's ambitions did not stop with the conquest of Persia. He led his army into Central Asia, campaigning in regions that correspond to modern-day Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan. These campaigns were marked by fierce resistance and brutal measures to secure Macedonian control. Alexander's efforts to integrate the conquered peoples into his empire were evident during this period. He adopted Persian dress and customs, married a Bactrian princess named Roxana, and encouraged his officers to marry local women. These actions were part of his broader vision of a fusion of cultures, which would become a hallmark of the Hellenistic era. The Indian Campaign. In 327 BCE, Alexander launched a campaign into the Indian subcontinent, crossing the Hindu Kush and advancing into the Punjab region. At the Battle of the Hydaspes in 326 BCE, he defeated King Porus, a local ruler, in a fierce and costly battle. Impressed by Porus's bravery, Alexander restored him to power as a subordinate ruler. Alexander's march eastward was ultimately halted when his troops, weary after years of campaigning and longing to return home, mutinied at the Hyphasis River, modern Beas River. Reluctantly, Alexander agreed to turn back, marking the easternmost extent of his empire. The return and legacy. On his return journey, Alexander led his army through the harsh Gedrosian Desert, modern-day Baluchistan, a decision that resulted in significant losses. In 323 BCE, he returned to Babylon, where he began planning further conquests, including an invasion of Arabia. However, these plans were cut short when Alexander fell ill and died in June 323 BCE at the age of 32. The exact cause of his death remains a matter of debate among historians. The Hellenistic world. Alexander's empire did not long survive his death. With no clear heir, his generals, known as the Diadochi, fought over the territories, eventually dividing the empire into several Hellenistic kingdoms, including the Seleucid Empire, the Ptolemaic Kingdom in Egypt, and the Antigonid Kingdom in Macedonia. Despite the political fragmentation, Alexander's conquests had a profound and lasting impact. The Hellenistic era, which lasted from his death to the Roman conquest of Egypt in 30 BCE, was marked by the spread of Greek culture, language, and ideas across the vast territories Alexander had conquered. Cultural syncretism. One of the defining features of the Hellenistic world was the blending of Greek and Eastern cultures. This cultural syncretism was evident in art, architecture, religion, and science. Greek cities, such as Alexandria in Egypt and Antioch in Syria, became thriving centers of learning and innovation, attracting scholars, artists, and merchants from diverse backgrounds. Hellenistic art and architecture reflected a fusion of styles, combining Greek techniques with local traditions. For example, the Greco-Buddhist art of Gandhara in present-day Pakistan and Afghanistan emerged as a result of Alexander's influence in the region. In religion, the Hellenistic period saw the emergence of new syncretic deities and the spread of mystery religions. Greek gods were often identified with local deities, creating hybrid forms of worship. The spread of Greek language and education facilitated cross-cultural exchange, making Greek a lingua franca across much of the ancient world. Scientific and intellectual achievements. The Hellenistic era was also a time of remarkable scientific and intellectual achievements. Scholars such as Euclid and Archimedes made significant contributions to mathematics and engineering. The Library of Alexandria, one of the greatest repositories of knowledge in the ancient world, symbolized the intellectual aspirations of the period. Philosophical schools such as Stoicism and Epicureanism flourished, offering new ways of understanding the world and human existence. These schools reflected the cosmopolitan nature of the Hellenistic world, addressing the concerns of individuals living in a diverse and interconnected society. Legacy of Alexander and the Hellenistic world. Alexander the Great's legacy is multifaceted. As a military genius, he inspired countless leaders, from Julius Caesar to Napoleon Bonaparte. His vision of a unified world where diverse cultures could coexist influenced the development of the Hellenistic era and shaped the course of history. The Hellenistic world, with its emphasis on cultural exchange and innovation, laid the groundwork for the Roman Empire and, ultimately, Western civilization. Alexander's conquests also facilitated the spread of Greek culture into regions as far as India, creating a legacy that would resonate for centuries. Despite his short life, Alexander's impact on the ancient world was unparalleled. His creation of the Hellenistic world represents a unique period in history, characterized by the blending of cultures and the flourishing of art, science, and philosophy. Through his conquests and vision, Alexander the Great transformed the ancient world and left an enduring legacy that continues to captivate historians and scholars. Let me know if you need any further modifications.